February 10th, 2017. I'm in this book. I bet you guys seen this, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm not going to go too far into it. I just want to use it as an example to make a point. It's page 109, chapter 6, lesson 5, The Rich Invent Money. Last night I took a break from writing and watched a TV program on the history of the young man named Alexander Graham Bell. Bell had just patented his telephone and was having growing pains because the demand for his new invention was so strong. Needing a bigger company, he then went to the giant at that time, Western Union, and asked them if they would buy his pen and his tiny company. He wanted $100,000 for the whole package. Mind you, back in those times, 100,000 was probably what, like 5 million? The president of Western Union scoffed at him and turned him down, saying the price was ridiculous. The rest is history. A multi-billion-dollar industry emerged and AT&T was born. The evening news came on right after the story of Alexander Graham Bell ended. On the news was a story of another downsizing at a local company. The workers were angry and complained that the company ownership was unfair. A terminated manager of about 45 years of age and his wife and 2 babies at the plant, and was begging the guards to let him talk to the owners to ask if they would reconsider his termination. They had just bought a house and he was afraid of losing it. The camera focused on his pleading for all the world to see. Needless to say, it held my attention. I've been teaching professionally since 1984. It has been a great experience and rewarding. It is also a disturbing profession, for I have taught thousands of individuals, and I see one thing in common in all of us, myself included. We have tremendous potential, and we all are blessed with gifts. Yet the one thing that holds us all back is some degree of self-doubt. It is not so much a lack of technical information that holds us back, more the lack of self-confidence. Some are more affected than others. Once we leave school, most of us know it is not as much a matter of college degrees or good grades that count. In the real world, outside of academics, something more than just grades is required. I have heard it called guts, chupa, balls, audacity, bravado, cunning, daring, tenacity, and brilliance. The factor, whatever it is labeled, ultimately decides one's future much more than school grades. Inside each of us is one of these brave, brilliant, and daring characters. There is also a flip side of that character. People who get down on their knees and beg if necessary. After a year in Vietnam, as a Marine Corps pilot, I intimately got to know both of those characters inside of me. One is not better than the other. Yet, as a teacher, I recognized that it was excessive fear and self-doubt that were the greatest detractors of personal genius. It broke my heart to see students know the answers, yet lack the courage to act on the answer. Often in the real world, it's not the smart that get ahead, but the bold. In my personal experience, your financial genius requires both technical knowledge as well as courage. If fear is too strong, the genius is suppressed. In my classes, I strongly urge students to learn to take the risks, to be bold, to let their genius convert that fear into power and brilliance. It works for some and just terrifies others. I've come to realize that for most people, when it comes to the subject of money, they would rather play it safe. I've had to field questions such as, why risks? Why should I bother developing my financial IQ? Why should I become financially literate? And I answer, just to have more options. And I've said that before in my own talks. Why develop a new scientific theory of star evolution, of planet formation? To have more options, of course. What happens when the mainstream theory fails horribly, which it is doing right now? Well, we have nothing left over. It creates a vacuum. And guess what goes right back into that vacuum again? The same bullshit, falsified theory. So in essence, we need to have options to make sure that we can move on. If no options are available, we keep on falling backwards to the same nonsense. Kind of like an abusive relationship, you know. If a man or a woman is being abused by their significant other and they can't find one to replace them, they end up going back to the same one again. And that's not very healthy. That's not how you develop science. That's how you get trapped in a cycle of repetitive abuse. And another point here, academics are trapped. It's very dangerous for a person, especially inside of science, to tie their income to their brilliance, to their ability to develop new understanding and to really break the mold of what everybody considers to be real about the world. When you tie your income to your ability, to your real brilliance, as an academic, you trap your own mind. You make it to where the fear, just like in that book, will encompass you, and you'll be more worried about what people think of you. You'll be worried about if you say something wrong or make a wrong publication or, you know, make yourself look bad. And that's not how you're supposed to do things. You're supposed to be allowed to be bold, to make claims that break the mold, to really shake things up. Because science, in essence, is a revolutionary thing. It's not something where everybody just gets along just to have meetings on Saturday about, or on Friday after school about how things are running. It doesn't work like that. It's supposed to be random. It's supposed to be innovative. It's supposed to be people in there that aren't afraid to be judged. But that's exactly the opposite of what we have now. People are afraid to be judged. They're afraid to be bold because they've tied their income to their ability to be real geniuses. And that's just very dangerous. The example here is with electricity in your house and gas-powered, natural gas-powered things in your house. The natural gas-powered stuff can run the stove, the furnace, and the water heater. You know, make sure you don't have cold showers, to make sure you can keep warm during the winter. And if you want to cook food, you have the gas available. As well as you have electric stuff in there, which can run the AC. It can run the lights, the TV, the microwave, the refrigerator. But guess what? When the power goes out and you don't have gas-powered things in there, well, you lose your stove, you lose your furnace, you lose your water heater, so you can't keep warm during the winter. You get really cold. It's very, very dangerous to have that happen. You'll have to take cold showers just to clean yourself because there's no way to heat up the water. So in essence, that's what I really mean to say here, is that if you're going to work on something that's really important, don't allow some other job, career, or a situation to prevent you from developing your theory to its fullest extent, to developing your understanding to its completion. Because if you do that, you're going to be trapped. You can't have those barriers in your way. You can't have those things holding you down. And that's one advantage I have with this, is that I can work on this theory regardless of what people think, regardless of what people say, and my income is not tied to me being correct or incorrect, or to my publication inside of mainstream journals. I don't have to worry about any of that. And that's real power. And I don't have to, sure, I don't work inside of those little groups, and my ideas are going to have a harder time reaching them. But then again, not really, because we have the internet now, and I guarantee you there are academics watching these videos asking themselves the same questions. But anyways, I think I made this talk long enough. In essence, if you're going to work on something really great, don't put barriers in your way. Don't self-sabotage. Alright, later y'all.